The Silent Conquest. The stars had always watched Earth with indifference. In the vast tapestry of galactic civilization, humanity's blue marble was merely a footnote, a primitive world of carbon-based organisms still fumbling with rudimentary technology. The Galactic Council had designated Earth as a Category 4 developing world. Observe, but do not interfere. Let them evolve at their own pace, if they survived long enough. But the Voidborn Collective didn't play by Council rules. Dr. Elena Reyes first noticed the anomaly while analyzing atmospheric data at the Global Climate Research Facility in Antarctica. The ozone layer showed microscopic fluctuations that followed no natural pattern, geometric arrangements that appeared and disappeared with mathematical precision. "These aren't random," she muttered to herself, rubbing her tired eyes as the Antarctic midnight sun cast long shadows across her research station. 3 days without sleep had left dark circles under her eyes, but she couldn't stop now. Something was happening in Earth's upper atmosphere, something that defied all known meteorological models. Her colleague, Dr. Jameson, had dismissed her concerns. Probably just equipment malfunction. "We're due for calibration next month anyway." But Elena knew better. As one of Earth's leading quantum physicists, she recognized patterns where others saw chaos. And these patterns were unmistakably artificial, a signature of technology far beyond human capabilities. She sent her findings to research stations worldwide, but received only polite acknowledgments. The scientific community had bigger concerns: rising sea levels, dwindling resources, political tensions. No one had time for mysterious atmospheric anomalies. Then the blackouts began. Small at first, a neighborhood in Tokyo, a suburb in Sydney, a rural area outside Moscow. Power grids failing for hours before mysteriously reactivating. Within weeks, the pattern accelerated. Major cities experienced rolling outages. Communications networks suffered unexplainable disruptions. Global positioning systems gave incorrect readings. Elena watched the news with growing dread. The patterns matched her atmospheric data perfectly. "They're testing our infrastructure," she whispered to her empty lab. "Mapping our vulnerabilities." When she tried to alert government officials, she found herself speaking to increasingly lower-level bureaucrats. Her emails went unanswered, her phone calls unreturned. It was as if an invisible barrier had formed around decision-makers worldwide. Captain Marcus Chen of the United States Cyber Command noticed something similar. Military communications experienced subtle delays. Classified networks showed trace evidence of intrusion, yet security protocols reported no breaches. When he brought his concerns to his superiors, he was reassigned to a remote listening post in Alaska. "Keep an eye on Russian communications," his commander had said. "That's where the real threat is." But Marcus knew better. Whatever was happening wasn't coming from Russia, or China, or any terrestrial power. The intrusions were too sophisticated, too comprehensive. No human organization had the capability to simultaneously compromise systems across nations, regardless of their different architectures and security protocols. In Anchorage, using personal equipment outside military networks, Marcus began connecting with others who had noticed the anomalies. Researchers, engineers, communications specialists, all pushed aside when they raised concerns. Together, they formed a loose network they called Cassandra, after the mythological figure doomed to speak truths no one would believe. Elena joined the Cassandra network after her research funding was mysteriously cut. "They're already here," she told the group during their first encrypted video conference. They'd been here for months, maybe longer. "They're not just studying us. They're taking control. Slowly, methodically." "But who are they?" asked Fatima al-Zahawi, a telecommunications engineer from Egypt. "And what do they want?" "I don't know who," Elena replied. "But I have a theory about what. Control without destruction. Conquest without war." Around the world, the Cassandra network documented the anomalies, creating the only reliable map of what was really happening. Power grids, communication networks, transportation systems, financial markets, all showed evidence of subtle manipulation, sophisticated enough to avoid detection by automated security systems, but noticeable to human observers watching for the right patterns. The infiltration accelerated. Factories produced slightly fewer goods than reported. Food shipments arrived with marginally reduced quantities. Medical supplies showed trace contaminants that caused mild but widespread illness. "They're weakening us systematically," Marcus observed. "Death by 1,000 cuts." 4 months after Elena's initial discovery, the first visual confirmation arrived. Aiko Nakamura, an amateur astronomer in Hokkaido, captured images of objects in low Earth orbit that appeared on no official registry. Geometrically perfect tetrahedrons, each about the size of a small car, reflecting no light yet somehow visible against the backdrop of space. When she tried to refocus her telescope the next night, she found her equipment no longer worked. Within days, observatories worldwide reported similar equipment failures. The Cassandra network knew time was running short. Whatever was happening was approaching its endgame. "We need to understand their technology," Elena insisted. "If we can understand it, maybe we can counter it." The breakthrough came unexpectedly. During a severe storm in Brazil, lightning struck one of the tetrahedrons as it passed overhead. The damaged object crashed in a remote area of the Amazon rainforest. Before official recovery teams could reach it, local Cassandra members secured the crash site. The technology was like nothing humanity had ever seen. No circuits, no recognizable power source, no mechanical components. Instead, the tetrahedron consisted of a material that seemed to shift between solid and energy states, a physical manifestation of quantum uncertainty. Elena spent sleepless nights studying fragments of the recovered object. "It's not just advanced technology," she finally announced to the network. "It's technology that manipulates quantum fields directly. They don't hack our computers. They change the quantum state of the electrons themselves." "Can we stop it?" Marcus asked. "Maybe," Elena replied. "Their system relies on quantum entanglement for instantaneous control across distances, but quantum entanglement is fragile. It breaks when observed. If we could force observation at enough points simultaneously." The plan took shape rapidly. Using the Cassandra network, they identified the patterns of the invaders' influence across global systems. Each intrusion point represented a quantum-entangled node. If they could trigger simultaneous measurement at enough nodes, they might break the entanglement, at least temporarily. "We'll need something widespread but subtle," Elena explained. "Something that can reach electronic systems globally without alerting whoever's controlling these objects." "What about the emergency broadcast system?" suggested Tariq Khan, a software engineer from Pakistan. "Every nation has some version of it. If we could trigger all of them simultaneously with the right signal pattern, they would measure the quantum states, collapsing the entanglement." Elena finished. "It could work, but only if we get enough systems to trigger simultaneously." The technical challenges were enormous. Different nations used different broadcast protocols. Security systems would resist unauthorized access, and they had no way of knowing how the invaders would respond once detected. As they prepared, the silent conquest continued. Governments worldwide began implementing oddly similar policies despite political differences. International tensions mysteriously eased as traditional adversaries found sudden common ground. Media organizations across the political spectrum converged on identical narratives. To the average citizen, it seemed like the world was finally coming together. But the Cassandra network saw the truth. Humanity wasn't uniting. It was being unified, homogenized, standardized for easier control. "We're running out of time," Marcus warned. "Whatever their endgame is, it's approaching." After weeks of preparation, the Cassandra network was ready. Members in 31 countries would trigger emergency broadcast systems simultaneously, using the signal pattern Elena had designed to force quantum observation. The moment came at 3:27 UTC on a Tuesday morning. Around the world, emergency alert systems activated unexpectedly. Television broadcasts interrupted. Mobile phones blared warnings. Radio stations switched to automated messages. The content of the alerts varied by country, but each carried the same underlying signal pattern, a digital code that forced measurement of quantum states across connected systems. For 30 seconds, nothing happened. Then, electricity flickered worldwide. Satellite communications stuttered. The internet slowed to a crawl before stabilizing. And in orbit, the tetrahedrons became fully visible, thousands of them, suddenly reflecting sunlight as if their cloaking ability had failed. Elena stared at the satellite images streaming in from the few observatories still functioning. "It worked," she whispered. "We broke their control network." But the victory was temporary. Within hours, the tetrahedrons began moving, descending into the atmosphere. Whatever had been happening in secret was now moving into the open. In major cities worldwide, the objects took position above key infrastructure: government buildings, power plants, water treatment facilities, telecommunications hubs. They no longer pretended to hide. A message broadcast simultaneously in all languages on all communication channels. "Resistance is inefficient. The integration will proceed. Your species requires standardization." The silent conquest had ended. The open invasion had begun. Marcus contacted Elena through their encrypted channel. "What now?" Elena stared at the fragments of alien technology on her lab table. "Now we fight back. Now we show them what humans can really do." Humanity unleashed. Humanity had spent its history fighting itself. Now, for the first time, it faced an external threat that recognized no borders, respected no sovereignty, and offered no compromise. The Voidborn Collective, as they finally identified themselves in global broadcasts, operated with cold efficiency. Their tetrahedron vessels positioned themselves above strategic locations worldwide, projecting fields that disabled electronics and induced a strange lethargy in humans nearby. People within these fields continued their daily routines but showed little emotion or initiative. They became extensions of the collective's will. "They're not killing us," Dr. Akira Tanaka observed from his laboratory in Kyoto, one of the few major cities still free from direct voidborn influence. "They're domesticating us." Akira had been developing quantum communication systems when the invasion began. Now his technology had become humanity's most valuable asset. While conventional communications fell under voidborn control, Akira's quantum network remained undetected, allowing the resistance to coordinate globally. "The voidborn think in systems," Elena explained during a resistance briefing. "They see us as inefficient components to be optimized. They don't understand us as individuals." That fundamental misunderstanding became humanity's advantage. Where the Voidborn expected surrender and compliance, they encountered creativity and defiance. When they disabled electronic systems, humans reverted to analog technologies. When they controlled media narratives, information spread through word of mouth and improvised publications. Marcus Chen, now coordinating military resistance efforts across North America, recognized another Voidborn weakness. They anticipate logical responses, but they can't predict emotional ones. They expect us to protect high-value targets and abandon low-value ones. But we don't always do what's strategically optimal. This insight led to the first significant human victory. In control zones, people began acting in ways that defied Voidborn behavioral models. They created art in public spaces. They sang together at precise times of day. They performed random acts of kindness and sacrifice that served no practical purpose. These unpredictable behaviors consumed Voidborn processing resources. The control fields fluctuated as the collective attempted to account for human irrationality. Meanwhile, Akira made a critical discovery. The Voidborn technology relied on perfectly coherent quantum states, which were vulnerable to deliberately introduced chaos. Quantum decoherence, he explained to Elena over their secure channel. Their systems require perfect order at the quantum level. If we generate enough quantum noise in the right frequency ranges, we could disrupt their control fields, Elena finished. But how do we generate that kind of quantum effect at a meaningful scale? The answer came from an unexpected source. Dr. Sofia Rodriguez, a geophysicist studying Earth's magnetic field, contacted the resistance with an observation. The void-borne control fields weaken during geomagnetic storms. Earth's magnetic field is a natural quantum system on a planetary scale, she explained. When it fluctuates naturally, it creates quantum noise that interferes with their technology. Elena immediately connected the dots. If we could artificially induce geomagnetic fluctuations, we could create a planet-wide quantum disruption field. Akira confirmed. The technical challenges were enormous. Manipulating Earth's magnetic field required enormous energy and precisely placed electromagnetic generators. But with Akira's quantum network coordinating efforts globally, resistance cells began constructing the necessary equipment using repurposed technologies. The Voidborn noticed the increased resistance activity and responded by intensifying their control fields. More humans fell under their influence daily. Major military forces, now largely under collective control, moved against known resistance strongholds. "We're running out of time," Marcus warned during an emergency briefing. "Their control is expanding faster than we can build our countermeasure." "Then we change tactics," Elena decided. "Instead of fighting their control, we use it against them." Her plan was audacious, using carefully selected individuals who could mimic the behavior of the controlled population. Resistance members infiltrated void-born-dominated zones. There, they introduced subtle errors into the systems the collective now relied upon. Errors designed to compound and escalate. Controlled factory workers produced components with microscopic flaws. Controlled programmers introduced subtle bugs into software. Controlled administrators made minor but consequential errors in resource allocation. None of these actions triggered the Voidborn's security algorithms, calibrated as they were for direct opposition rather than systemic sabotage. The collective, in absorbing human infrastructure, had also absorbed human vulnerabilities. As these cascading failures consumed Voidborn attention and resources, the resistance completed work on the magnetic field generators. Positioned at key points around the globe corresponding to Earth's magnetic nodes, these devices would work in concert to create a precisely modulated fluctuation in the planetary field. "We'll only get one chance," Akira warned. "Once we activate the system, the Voidborn will identify and target the generators immediately." "Then we make it count," Elena replied. The moment came 3 months after the open invasion began. With 30% of Earth's population now under direct Voidborn control and another 40% in contested zones, humanity activated its planetary defense. The generators powered up sequentially, creating a cascading wave of magnetic fluctuation that circled the globe. As the effect intensified, the carefully introduced errors in Voidborn-controlled systems triggered simultaneously. Control fields flickered worldwide as the collective diverted resources to address critical failures. In that moment of vulnerability, the magnetic pulse reached full strength. Earth's magnetic field oscillated at precisely the frequency Akira had calculated to maximize quantum decoherence in Voidborn systems. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Control fields collapsed. Tetrahedron vessels lost cohesion, some dissolving entirely while others plummeted to Earth, no longer able to maintain their position. Communications from the collective fragmented into disjointed data streams. Freed from direct control, millions of humans experienced a moment of disorientation before resuming autonomous action. Military forces, now self-directed again, secured fallen Voidborn technology. Scientists worldwide began immediate analysis of the alien systems, now vulnerable to study. Through the quantum noise, a final message from the collective reached Earth's communication systems. Anomaly detected. Human substrate unsuitable for integration. Recategorizing Sol-3 as hazard zone. The remaining Voidborn vessels retreated to high orbit before accelerating away from Earth, abandoning their conquest attempt. In the aftermath, humanity faced the monumental task of rebuilding. Infrastructure had been damaged, political systems disrupted, and millions still recovered from the psychological effects of Voidborn control. But these challenges came with unprecedented unity of purpose. For the first time in history, all of humanity had faced an existential threat together and prevailed. Using recovered void-borne technology, Akira and Elena developed a new communication system capable of transmitting across interstellar distances. Earth's first deliberate message to the stars was brief but unambiguous. To all galactic civilizations, Earth has awoken. We have repelled the void-borne collective and claimed our place among spacefaring species. We seek peaceful exchange of knowledge and culture, but we will defend ourselves without hesitation. Our differences are our strength. Our emotions are our power. We are humanity. And we are done staying silent. The message propagated across nearby star systems, reaching the Galactic Council and dozens of other civilizations. For many, this was the first they had heard of the void-borne collective's unauthorized conquest attempt. For others, it was their first indication that the unassuming blue planet held beings capable of defeating a technologically superior force. Earth's classification changed overnight from Category 4 Developing World to Category 1 Emerging Power. Diplomatic overtures arrived from established galactic civilizations. Trade proposals followed. Warnings came, too, of other threats lurking in the darkness between stars. Humanity met these developments with characteristic diversity of response. Some advocated isolation and continued development of defensive technologies. Others pushed for full integration into galactic society. Most favored a measured approach, engage, but vigilantly. Elena, now heading Earth's new interstellar research division, reflected on how quickly everything had changed. "We thought we were alone in the universe," she told Marcus during the opening of the first dedicated xenotechnology research facility. "Then we thought we were helpless against advanced civilizations. We were wrong on both counts." Marcus nodded, watching as scientists from nations that had been adversaries just months earlier collaborated on reverse engineering void-borne technology. The question is what happens now. Do we use what we've learned to unite ourselves, or will we fall back into old patterns? "I think we've changed fundamentally," Elena replied. "We've seen beyond our planetary concerns. We know what's out there now, both the dangers and the possibilities." As if to emphasize her point, Akira rushed into the facility, excitement evident on his normally composed face. "We've received a response to our transmission," he announced. "Multiple responses, actually. Most are diplomatic overtures, but one." He paused, collecting himself. "One claims to be from a human colony established beyond our solar system over 300 years ago." Elena and Marcus exchanged stunned looks. "Apparently," Akira continued, "we're not the first humans to reach the stars. We're just the first to make enough noise that the galaxy couldn't ignore us anymore." The universe, it seemed, held more surprises yet. But whatever came next, humanity would face it on its own terms, together, yet diverse, unified, yet independent, part of a larger galactic community, yet uniquely, defiantly human. Earth had awoken, and the stars would never be the same.